welcome to NSC111 Foundation of Nursing class. Today we'll be discussing legal roles of professional nurses. What are your responsibilities as nurses to your community, to your patient, to your environment? What are you responsible to? What are your responsibilities? These are the line of our discussion today. And at the end of the day, at the end of this class, you should be able to highlight legal responsibilities in delivering client care. Remember that I always said that clients in this perspective can be patient, can be family, can be community, can be organization. So at the end of this class, you should be able to highlight or enumerate the legal responsibilities you have as nurses towards your client. The first role you have as professional nurses is to provide services, that is, provider of service. One, you render care based on your education, experience, and circumstances. And what does this imply? When you have any situation, any clinical circumstances in which it does not cover your educational training, you are not obliged to render such a care. However, it is your legal role for you to render care according to the education that you have acquired, the experiences you have, and the circumstances that before you. The standard of care by which a nurse acts or fails to act are legally defined by the Nurse Practice Act and by the rule of reasonable and prudent action, that is, what a reasonable and prudent professional with similar preparation and experience will do in similar circumstances. In another way, when there is any situation, they will look at it. If other nurses are there that have the same training as you are, will they act differently with the way you have acted? That is, if no, then you are within your professional limit to render such services. Discuss with the client the associated risk and outcomes inherent in the plan of care, as well as alternate treatment modalities. So it is your legal responsibility for you to explain everything about your care to your patient. Maintain clinical competence and refuse to carry out orders that will be injurious to client. Anything that you know that is not right, is not ethically right, don't participate in it. Document the care the clients receive and other significant events affecting the client. As professional nurses, you have a legal roles towards your employee or contractor for service. In all nurse-patient relationships, the nurse holds the patient-client a duty of care. As nurses, you owe the patient duty of care. Personal inconveniences and personal problems are not legitimate reason for failing to fulfill this contract, whether as an independent practitioner or as an employee. So it is your responsibility to render care to your patient, to your client. So your own personal problems shouldn't come into play when you are to deliver this duty. The nurse employed by a hospital functions within the policies of the employing agency. This type of legal relationship create the ancient legal doctrine known as respondere superior, that is, let the masters answer. So in such case, for you that you are working in the hospital, you work within the policy that is existing in that hospital. In other words, the master assumes responsibility for the conduct of the servant, which is employee, which is the nurse, and can also be held responsible for malpractice by the employee. This doctrine does not, however, imply that the nurse cannot be held liable as an individual, nor does it exonerate her in cases where her actions are extraordinarily inappropriate, that is beyond those expected or foreseen by the employer. In another word, for the fact that you are working within an organized environment where there is policies guiding you, doesn't mean that when you act inappropriately, you will not be liable. You will be liable. In a nutshell, the nurse has obligation to her employer, the client, and other personnel. The nurse has legal roles to the citizen. The rights and responsibilities of the nurse in the role of citizen are the same as those of any individual under the legal system. Rights are privileges or fundamental power to which an individual is entitled unless they are revoked by law or given up voluntarily. Responsibilities are obligations associated with this right. An understanding of this right and responsibilities associated with them will therefore promote legal responsible conduct and practice by nurses. With this, we know that yes, as nurses, you are responsible to your client, you are responsible to your employee, to employer, to other professional colleagues, and even the citizen you belong to. So as much as possible, you have to deliver your care, having this at the back of your mind, that you are liable when you do anything that is outside your profession, outside your training, and you will face the consequences at the end of the day. With this, we have come to today's class.